In this video, let's take a look at how to work with navigational elements in Composica. The easiest way to add navigational elements to your project is to create a new project based upon a styled project. Every styled project will have a system style, and it will include a master layer with navigational elements already included based upon the visual theme of that particular system style. You'll notice here we have a master layer applied and we have some navigational buttons here, including the previous button and the next button. Now you can customize all of your master layers as needed, and you can add navigational elements to master layers, dynamic layers, as well as individual document pages. In this case, on the master layer, maybe I want to also provide the ability for the viewer to see where they are in the document and where they've come from. This is easily done. If I go to the Insert menu and I click Navigation, you'll notice that we have various navigational elements to work with, including breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs is the navigational element I want to use, so I'm going to go ahead and place it up here. And it simply will provide the viewer a trail of where they've been and where they are within the document in runtime mode. And I can, of course, like any other element, customize the text here, the appearance, and so on. I'm going to keep the default set, and then I'm going to jump over, let's say, to the chapter 2 page, and you'll notice here that the breadcrumb is in the same location because all of the pages in this course have the same master layer applied. So let's go ahead and see how this might work in runtime. So here we are in the browser, and you'll notice here is the breadcrumb here showing where we are, and if I click next, the trail or the breadcrumbs will expand to show our current location. I can also use this particular navigational element to navigate back to where I was as well. So that's a simple example of how breadcrumbs can be used as a navigational element. Now, next, maybe you want to go ahead and let's jump over to a different page here. Maybe you want to add some kind of a menu for the viewer to use to see the course outline and maybe provide some additional navigation of a non-linear nature that they can click to navigate through the course. One of the most common is a tree menu, and this is easily done. We're going to go ahead and just click the tree menu, and it's inserted onto our document page, and we can place it where we need to, and pretty much that's all we need to do. However, I do want to point out that you can determine additional properties for it, such as its root. You can set options for its initial appearance. Maybe you want it to have all levels showing initially, or just one or two, or whatever, as well as a start state. You can also determine behaviors for it to use when the viewer clicks on the particular menu. We're going to keep the default set and see how this might work. So we'll go ahead and save this, and then we're going to preview it in runtime again in the browser. You'll notice here it is. Here's our menu showing our course outline. If I go ahead and click on, let's say, chapter 1, it will expand it with additional document pages within that particular chapter. I can click on introduction. It takes me right to that page. If I go back to this particular tree menu, I can go ahead and then maybe jump over to a different page as needed. Let's go ahead and press the delete key, get rid of the tree menu, and go back to the insert menu and click navigation. You have also the ability to create a compact tree menu and a one level menu. Let's look at the one level menu. It does appear similar to the tree menu graphically. So, you can set the same options, save it as it is and just use it, or maybe come over here and maybe we want to go ahead and instead of the layout being columns, maybe we'll want it to be bars, and we'll move it back over here a little bit more. And again, you can change behavior settings. You can also have markers of what's been visited and so on. Let's see how that might work too. So we'll go ahead and click save, and then we'll preview it. Again, we'll move this down a little bit. And again, if I were to come over here and I choose chapter 1, we see the course pages. If I choose chapter 2, it will go ahead and hide chapter 1, collapse it, so that I'm focusing just on chapter 2. If I come over to introduction And then if I were to go back, you'll notice that it's marking the pages I've already visited and so on. All of this is based upon the behavior settings that I chose initially for this particular menu and so on. So let's go ahead and close that. Now let's actually jump over to the Chapter 1 document page. There may be times in your course where you want to also include some limited navigational elements so that the viewer can determine if they want to progress in a non-linear fashion throughout the course. Now, keep in mind, navigational elements aren't limited to just master layers, document layers, and document pages. You can also, for example, include them in your feedback elements, maybe for activities and so on. So it's up to you where you want to put them. I just want to show you a couple more examples before we tie up this particular video. This particular example is going to show you how you can set up limited navigation with a timer as well. So, for example, on this page I want to provide the ability for the viewer to jump ahead to the engagement page or the attitude page using navigational links, navigational buttons. We'll start with a navigational link. And I'm just showing you one design aspect of how to set this up. You can have a navigational link independent of itself, just a text link of where you want it to go, or you can include it within text, maybe in a paragraph, or you can go ahead and have the text set on top of the button image. That's the setup we're going to show you now how to do, but you can choose what you want to do on your own. I'll show you the basics of how to set it up. So we start with our navigation link, and then I can go in here maybe for the text and determine maybe I want the text to be a bigger size, maybe I want to set it to be a different color, maybe I want it to be bold, maybe I want to take off the underline, and then I can go ahead and place it over my image here, and then maybe I want to go ahead and change the text to say engagement. Now, once I've made all of those modifications to the navigation link itself, the next thing that I want to do is, let's go ahead and move this and tweak this a little bit here. I don't want to forget to come over to the settings tab and set up its trigger. It can be on click, it can be a mouse over, it can be a timer. We'll keep it set that the viewer has to click it. And then for the operation, maybe we can set up custom operation, or we can set a navigate to operation. So we want it to actually navigate to the engagement course page within this chapter, so I'll select that. And then it's set to go. Another way I could have set this up is with a navigation button. I can go up to the insert menu, click navigation button. And the beauty of using a navigation button, if you look here, it matches the system style, the visual theme of this particular course. So it makes it a lot easier to work with navigational elements that I want to have appear the same or of the same theme. In this case, all I need to do then is come in here, change the text to say something like this. Again, I can change the text elements as needed. We'll just keep it the same for now. And then I can go ahead and choose the behavior. Again, we'll keep it for click, and then where I want it to navigate to. I'm going to actually have it come over to the attitude course page, select that, and we're good to go. The last thing on this particular page, maybe I want to force it to do some navigation just in case the viewer decides to sit on this page too long. I can easily do that here as well as anywhere else in my course by going to the insert menu and inserting the navigational element of a timer. Now we'll just modify this a little bit and then you can play around with it on your own. The first thing I might want to do is come over here and change the appearance of it from digital to maybe a horizontal bar, and then I want to maybe make the duration of it to be maybe 5 seconds, and then have it automatically, once the 5 seconds has elapsed, go to the next page. And then of course I want the viewer maybe to know what's going on, so I'll put some message in here and say time to move on, and I'll click off that, click back on, and maybe resize this box a little bit. just so that the viewer knows what's going on with that. And I can select the entire element again and move it where I need to. Maybe I'll put it right down here. So those are some of the custom limited navigational elements we can have in place on this particular document page. So let's see how these might work. We'll save the page. We'll go ahead and preview it in runtime. And you'll notice there's the timer. Time has elapsed and it's moved on. Now we can also go ahead, come back to this page, click the navigation link, take us to the proper page, as well as click the navigation button, which is taking us to, as you can see by the breadcrumbs, to the proper page. This video covered the basics of adding navigational elements throughout your Composica course.